Hey up everyone, so it's a lovely sunny day outside and I'm stuck in here working on bike, but I must get these on the road. So I'm going to start doing a little bit of work on this Rs125. I've removed the fairings. I'm going to have a look at where the oil leak was coming from, just give it a good check over underneath. So I've decided that I want to get this MOT'd, run it on the road and see what it runs like before I strip it down. The last thing I want to do is get this bike all painted up and then get it out on the road only to find that it bogs and cuts out or does something nasty. So what I'm going to be doing is getting it roadworthy, MOT, get the indicators on, give the brakes a service and then test it out, because I'm dying to ride it. I want to test it out, that way I know it's running okay when I can strip it and throw it all back together looking brand new again. Okay, so let's take a look down here. I'll get my torch on. So I'm checking out where the oil leak was coming from first of all. It seems to be a little bit sweaty around here. I don't know if that's from the oil leak or if it's from something else. But the first thing that sprung to mind I've seen here, which is dodgy, is see all that nasty goo inside the oil feed pipe there? I'm glad I found that. The auto lube. So I'm going to get this first of all stripped out and clean that pipe out and check what it's like under there, because that is the vital lifeline to this bike, is the oil feed. But under here it looks like the gasket's sweating a little bit, so the oil leak could have been coming from under here. It seems to be quite wet there. I might just give those a little nip up. Around this bolt here seems to be a little bit oily. There's some oil there, so I think the oil is actually coming from the auto lube. So we'll get under there and have a look at. Right, that's better. Now we can see. Okay, so that is the electronic power valve wiring. Someone told me it was. That looks pretty gruesome. What is that all about? Why has someone put a female spade connector on there? Under here we've got, is that standard? Why is that like that? That's a right mess under here. I can't stand tatty wiring at all. The coil, ignition coil's got a mount missing there. And that's obviously missing. We need to get this oil feed pipe out, it's disgusting. Air filter. That's clean in there, but the air filter's minging. Look at all that filth and grime. Oh my god. I wonder if that's got a split in it or something. Got water in that, I think. Oh my god. Ew. Looks like that's had some water in there. Not worse than scabby electrics, is there? I mean, what is that for? Get that out. It's got damaged insulation all over. Insulation has just worn away. Okay, so I've given this a little bit of a clean up with some alcohol and so on. I'd like to get this a little bit more cleaner, but what I'm going to do now is repair all this damaged insulation. It's only a ground wire that anyway, but I will repair it, clean those contacts up. This is going to get repaired. Still none the wiser why that's got a female spade connection in there. This bullet connector looks crap and naff. I'm going to repair that. The ground cable, this has got some insulation damage on it, so I'm going to repair that. And also on here you can just see that insulation broke down again on there. That'll get covered up, that's not too much of a problem. So that's what we're going to be doing now. I'm going to cut this off, repair that, repair any bits and bats of wiring I can, clean these connectors up, and get it all back together. Stator wiring, that looks a little bit dark in there, so I'm going to get these out and give them a clean up as well. Alright, so the task today, or right now, is to get this power valve solenoid wiring repaired. It works, but you can see this wiring here. Let me zoom in. This wiring's all, the insulation's wearing off it, look at that. Pretty gruesome. So, what I'm going to do is snip this wire off, ditch this damaged part, and just resolder it to some new. Not got much to play with, but this was beyond repair. I'd simply just buy a new one. Although these are expensive, so you don't want to be doing that. There's enough there to solder. So I'm just giving these ends a clean up with some alcohol. You can use flux, but one thing about using flux, you need to get rid of it after you've used flux because it will cause the wires to corrode. Okay, that's done. So let's get some heat shrink on there, protect it. I've not got any white heat shrink, so put green on there. Hey up everybody, it's September, the 6th of September. I started this bloody Aprilia, I think it was 2 months ago, something like that. I started working on it, stripped it down. We're fast forwarded to the future now because I've got sidetracked. I've suddenly got myself back into motocross. I started off as a motocross rider. I've always been a motocross rider. Me and my wife have been doing motocross, and I've fallen back in love with it because we do love it. It's so enjoyable. And I've been sidetracked getting back into motocross, so I've been enjoying myself for a while. And I've parked up all the road bikes in the garage. We've not been out on anything this year, and the weather's been shit anyway. So I do get a little bit sidetracked. I just must apologise because I start projects or start things saying I'm going to do things, and I don't really complete them. But I do get sidetracked all the time, distracted. Yes, I do. Anyway. It is red hot, it's 6th of September and it's absolutely scorching outside. We've had such a crappy year and I'm trying to think where I was now. So, I cleaned all this up. I've renewed this bit here because the other one was cracked. I've renewed this pipe down there. I did forget to put this on. I cleaned it all up and forgot to put that on. It's on there now. We did have a little... I can hear a motorbike. Motorbikes out everywhere and I'm in here. It did have a little leak, didn't it, somewhere, but that seal looks intact. It looks like there's nothing wrong with that seal whatsoever. But it did have a little leak, but that leak, oil leak, could have come from this, I think. It was all cracked and buggered. Right, so we're going to get that back on. We're going to get the airbox on. The air filter's getting thrown away because it's cracking to pieces. And we don't want that back in there, do we? This is going to get totally clean and blitzed when we strip this bike, but my idea is to get it back together, get it MOT, give it a trial, make sure it runs tip top, and then we'll strip it. I've lost my screw for the battery, I need to find that. So I've tied up all the electrics. Electrics in there, we sorted the power valve solenoid out, and everything else has been renewed and re-terminated. We'll tidy all that back up when we get to it. Spot the problem in here. So, the problem is this brand new plug cap. I've seen these on eBay. Well, they're £6, something like that. Well, they are a problem. Do not buy them. Do not buy these. If you see this plug cap on eBay, avoid it at all costs. It's shit. I'm going to show you why. I've had problems with these. I was a sucker to buy one of these ones, and I got it for my RM250, and the RM completely rebuilt engine. It wouldn't run properly. It fired up and it wouldn't fire up, it fired up, it wouldn't fire up, and it would cut out. It just sounded to me like, well, the spark at the plug, sorry, when I got the plug out, then there wasn't a spark at the plug. Plug cap. It tests okay, because you put a probe in there and touch that metal contact and you're going to get a good test off that, continuity test. But once you place that on there, it's already got a tendency to pop itself back up. There's play in it. I can feel that moving side to side. I can feel it already moving side to side on the plug. So, I've pre-slackened this off. We're going to get rid of this and show you the solution. The solution is, get yourself an NGK one. Buy the proper stuff. When it comes to electrics, is this picture a bit dull? Looks like it needs brightening up a bit. Okay, so the plug is out. I've not got a tripod, so I might have to put the camera down to do other things. Alright, so looking in here, you see the width of that piece of shit plastic, well, metal in there, sorry. In there, look. And you get this beautiful NGK one. Let's get this off. NGK one, which has a thick brass contact with a nice little steel wire clip in there, which grips the spark plug, ensuring that you have a positive connection. Whereas this one here is absolute toss. It's just a cheap thing made in some Asian country, which is nice and bendy, and it doesn't provide you any continuity whatsoever in there. So the lad said before I bought this off, it's intermittent firing. Sometimes it fires, it doesn't, sometimes it cuts out. You go with bumps, it can cut out or splutter. I'd say amongst the other things I've found, that is one of the culprits to it, definitely. We'll see if I'm right when we fire it up. But we found all sorts wrong in there. There's some, the carburetors are blocked with shit, the electrics are bad, the fuel tap in the tank was the wrong way round, and this plug cap as well, so looks like someone's been fiddling with a few things, replacing stuff to enhance its performance. Whereas that is a little culprit. So, we're going to get this on. Looks even hard to press in, is that? Sorry, one-handed. Get in, you. There, that's it, nice and tight. Nice and tight, that. I can't feel any play in there whatsoever, it's not even got the rubber on. Nice and tight. There it goes. That just feels slack in there. I can explain it, but you obviously can't feel it. But that, it feels slack in there. It's not even touching. I can move it side to side. It's gripped it all right, the rubber, but I can feel that. If I squeeze it, I can push that down. It pops up each time. Absolutely no good. If you've got one of these on and you're stuck waiting for an NGK one, and get some pliers in there and crimp that bit so it's tighter. So we're gonna put this plug back in now anyway, and build the rest of him up. I am so hot. That's what the ladies say. I'm so hot. It's unbelievable, this weather. We've had such a crappy summer, right? And this week, this whole entire week has just been so hot. I feel like I'm not used to it. I used to live in Cyprus, by the way. I just feel all clammy. Right, plugs in, so I'm going to fit this plug cap on. Hear that? Hear that zipping noise? Boom, that is on there, nice and tight. Alright, let's get that canister back on there. You don't want to watch me put it on, do you? No, you don't. It's boring. We've seen you take it off. Are you ready? Okay, so I thought I'd just fast forward, get a tank and everything built up and give it a fire. And it runs. There we go. Get a few little blips of throttle. It's hardly got any fuel in it, so need to get some. Do need to do some jetting on it though. Ignore that oil light. It's just low on oil, that's all. There's enough in to run it for a minute. Throttle hangs just a slight little bit, but not to worry about. No cutting out now. It stinks in here. It smells really good and two-strokey. I'm going to have to get some fresh air. My eye's starting to stink. So I've put it all together. It's not a tutorial video, this. I'm sure many of you were watching this. We've worked on this before. But I've put it all back together anyway. There's a few things I don't know about the Rs125, to be honest with you. The air fuel screw, pilot fuel screw, I've wound it out 4 turns. So that clearly means that the pilot jetting wants jetting. It's got a 62 pilot jet in it, and we have this Tiger full egg system exhaust in it. I don't know what the standard jetting is, but usually on the carburetors, it depends where the fuel screw is, if it's at the front or the back where it meters fuel or air or not. So we don't want that fuel screw, air fuel screw 4 turns out. That's quite a lot, that, because when you start to wind it out more and more, the tension on the spring gives up and that can rattle out, so we don't want that at all. We want it to be like 1.5 or 2 turns maximum. Right, so I think I will get I need a new air filter for it. I'm going to get the fairings on it, make sure it's all secure, give it a little wash and take him for his MOT. And hopefully it passes the MOT. If it passes the MOT, Then we'll rip it up and down the roads, put the GoPro on, see how it runs, make sure it runs 100% spot on. There's no leaks, no bogging, no cutting out, nothing like that. No getting hot. And after that, I think it's strip it down time and paint him up and make him look beautiful again, just like me. Then there's you, isn't there? The job of doom. Starts first time now, runs absolutely spot on, doesn't it? I'm not going to rev it up here because there's hardly any fuel in it and I don't want to scare all the neighbours. Well, that's from cold, the engine fires up, so I don't think we're going to have any problems with this engine. Okay, to be continued. Check it out, the Rs125 is alive. It's alive. It doesn't cut out. It revs nice. I'm waiting for some carb jets coming. I'm going to get those in later. But like I said, I want to see how it runs first. Make sure it goes through all the gears and gets up to power nicely before I do anything else with it. So all I need to do now is bleed the brakes and take it for its MOT. It's ready to go. I've got it cleaned down with some dirt shifter. Yes, dirt shifter, the only product I use. I've used some bike shine on there. It looks sensational. It looks like it's had a new coat of gloss, doesn't it? Well, the aluminium does want polishing. I've used some of the aluminium wheel cleaner on there just to get rid of all that corrosion, and it's taken off some of the rust actually. So I will be getting this for its MOT, like I said, taking it down the road. I want some bar end weights for it. I'm going to bleed the brakes. We'll take it down the road and see how it performs. And I will be putting my GoPro on when I ride this bike after it's got its MOT and tax insurance. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I've only rode one of these. A friend got one brand new and I just can't wait to get back on it. Brings back so many memories. Finally got one. Okay, right.